Howdy, howdy, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Back of the End Zone podcast. I'm Josh Reisick, joined by Brian Koleski, and I cannot wait to get it popping with some conference championship overview from the AFC and NFC title games. I know Bryant
Yeah.
is just eager to get into how those games went. Obviously, didn't go his way, and we'll touch base on that. But then some other things going around with some tampering in the college football world and what that's looking like for a pretty well-known coach, along with some brief Super Bowl outlook and an overview as well. But man, Bryant, we got to get right into it. And we got to start off with this AFC
It's
Championship
been a
game.
long weekend, man. On top of a huge winter storm that came into Arkansas and most of the Mid South this weekend, uh, having to work in those conditions and having to brave that as not only, but then also the game itself, which I have been waiting all, which is the only bright spot I was looking forward to this weekend, and shattered my heart.
Yeah. I mean, and one thing I will say is to start that game, Steady looked hot, bro. I mean, that second drive he connected with Marvin Mims on that like 52 or 42-yard pass, and then they got in the end zone, and you guys were on top to start. But then I think one of the crucial points of that game that I mean, I don't even want to say it's necessarily a crucial point, but going forward on that fourth and short with Sean Payton, if you get the field goal there, that likely could have propelled you guys to overtime or even a win potentially on what the outcome was to happen after that. Um, but for me, I think one of the big key things in that game was not going for it, or was not going for the field goal on that 4th and 2 or 4th and 1, whatever it was, on that like third or fourth drive.
Yeah, and well, I at the time I agreed with the call. Hindsight's always 2020, and I get where Sean Payton. I agreed with the call to go for it. I didn't agree with the play call. I mean, or even early in the game, New England was still getting pressure uh, to Jared Stidham and disrupting a little bit of his rhythm. I figured they should have tried like a run play or something to not make it so obvious of what they were doing. I don't know what the right correct play call would have been there. I'm not a football coach. I'm not a football expert. Uh, that's why Sean Payton gets paid millions of dollars to do that, and I don't. But in the moment, I agree with the call. Okay, you believe in your defense, which was stout all game. Even, Drake May only had 86 passing yards. He did the most damage with his legs, and he didn't even start doing that until the second half. So I understand the thinking. If you go up 14-0, you get it and you get back in the end zone, go up 14-0. You feel pretty good, especially with how hot Jared Stidham was to begin the game. But for me, that wasn't, and I know a lot of people are pointing to that as the crucial point in that game. That was not the reason Denver lost the game because, like I said, hindsight is 2020. If we'd have gotten it and then gotten in the end zone, and the outcome was different, everybody would be praising Sean Payton for having the guts to go for it. They'd be posting the memes of Randy Marsh, with his face on it. Um, Hindsight's always 2020. I agree with the call. What I think happened to Denver is they got when they went up 7-0. They got very conservative in their play calling. It's the AFC Championship game. I know you have a backup quarterback in. Let him rip it. Let him go out there and do what he needs to do. The run game wasn't effective. Denver was not having success on the ground. They only had 37 yards rushing on like 13, 14 carries, I believe. Go out there and just let him rip it. If he makes a mistake, okay. But I think they played too conservative on offense, and then the fumble obviously was the called fumble was obviously that was the turning point in the game because it allowed New England to get their only touchdown of the game, and they had not. The only time they had had a drive on their own where they got across the 50 and got into Denver territory was when they went up 10-7.
Yeah.
That field goal. So yeah, I mean the field goal going for it right there. Hindsight is 2020. At the time, I thought it was the correct call, but it is
Yeah.
what it
I
is.
mean, Yeah, and like you said, hindsight's 2020. But one of my key takeaways is this performance from the Patriots, man. It just completely underlines New England's identity, man. They are there's their defensive toughness, man. I understand that they were going up against a backup quarterback. Had it been different with Bo in there, I would definitely think so. But
I think so too, but
they were prepped all week to bring the pressure to Jarrett Stidham. You've got a backup quarterback playing in his first start all season, and I think that was the whole defensive game plan all game was to get pressure on the quarterback. And they did, and it worked. It worked 99% of the time. When Jarrett Stidham was getting pressured, there was that one time where I think it was right when they went for it on fourth down when he nearly picked up the first down with his legs, came up
yeah.
short. But man, they were New England's front seven right there, man. They were just pressuring that hell out
And
of
I'll
Stidham.
tell you what, I mean, people are kind of annoyed at the Patriots. You know, you thought when Tom Brady left that was the end for a while, and here they are. They're looking like
It's almost
the early Tom Brady days where it was defense and then Brady was making plays when he had to. I mean, Drake May, while he's not, I mean, well, Drake May. I mean, while he makes plays. Don't get me wrong. He's a great player. He's only in his second year, like Bo Nix. But defense is what's winning as what
yeah,
has been winning them
yeah.
these playoff games.
And all I have to say, this is a hot take too. I mean, it's not a hot take. Everybody other than Chiefs and Patriots fans will agree with me. Man, when the hell like it makes me so mad, man, that the Patriots were out of the picture for what, maybe 5 years max, and now they're right back in it. And you know they're going to be back in it for years to come, just like the Chiefs have been the last couple of years. The Chiefs have been one of the most hated fan bases in the entire NFL. And the year the Chiefs aren't in it, it's the Patriots. Go figure. It couldn't have
Yeah,
been anybody else. And I
yeah.
mean that's really the only thing I got to say. I think this is one of the lowest AFC Championship score, like lowest scoring AFC title games in a long time. I couldn't tell
Well,
you
and
any time in my life
the
where it's been
second
this low
half
scoring.
conditions did not make
Yeah,
anything better. I mean, I just think it was too. While I believe this Jarrett Stidham and I was 100% behind him, and you know I don't blame him one bit for this loss because he didn't ask to be put in that position. I mean, if Jarrett Stidham had been the starter all year long, and Bo Nix was the backup, and I'd feel the same way. I mean, it's just too tall of a task to ask of a backup quarterback in his first start since 2023, or his first non-preseason action since 2023. It was just too much to ask, and
yeah,
that defense for New England, you know, made it so. But I'm not worried. It was the most, like I said on social media, was some of the most fun I've had as a Broncos fan in a long time. You saw the jump you needed to see from Bo Nix and this team from uh, last year. This year went 10-7. Last year made the playoffs as a wild card. Then this year you really ramp it up. You win the AFC West. You get the number one seed. You advance to the AFC title game under uh, heartbreaking circumstances with Bo Nix getting hurt, and you lose 10-7. I'm not mad at that one bit. I'm already excited for next year and to see where they go. The one thing I'll say about the Broncos heading in the offseason is they have to prioritize a main weapon for Bo Nix. Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, some of the guys they've drafted are serviceable guys. They're really good pieces, but you don't have a game changer. You don't have a
yeah,
Jackson Smith and Jigba on the
yep.
or you don't have a Puka Nakua. You don't have a Marvin Harrison Jr. or Justin Jefferson or some of the receivers like Caleb Williams has. I'd kill to have a Luther Burden or a DJ Moore here and there. So that's all I got to say about the Broncos heading into the offseason.
All right. And now into the marquee matchup, the
I know
much
I
better
rambled a
game.
little bit with my Broncos,
Hey,
but
that's okay. That's okay. I'm
I had to get my soapbox out of the way.
that's okay. I'm gonna ramble a little bit with this NFC title game for a second.
Oh,
Seahawks
that was
Rams.
the game of the day. I
It was the
mean,
marquee matchup. Seahawks take it home 31-27 at home in Seattle. And the big thing about this game, man, Sam Darnold's redemption arc, man. He goes from a
dude,
journeyman to the NFC title game hero. To think of all the teams that he was on, bro. He was on that's drafted by the Jets, then goes to Carolina, then goes to San Fran, then to Minnesota, now to Seattle. And you look at what he did in just his first year being there, man. I bet Vikings fans are depressed. You look at what he did. Huge performance, man. 25 for 36, 346 yards, and 3 tuds with no picks. And he still has the oblique issue. Going into this week, they said at practice they weren't letting him rip it at all. And you see him right from the jump at the beginning of the game, ripping it to JSN, man. JSN finished the game with 153 yards, 10 receptions, and a tud. I'm like, this Seahawks team, and I'll talk about the Rams in a second. This Seahawks team combines efficient offense with a super opportunistic defense, and it's the perfect blueprint. Right now, I don't, and obviously we'll get into it later in next week, I don't think there's any way in hell that the Patriots can beat this team with everything that they have on both sides of the ball.
Their defense is still pretty good.
I understand that, but it's going to be a good matchup. But I think one of the most pivotal moments in this game that gave the Rams a shot and kept them in it was when Seattle was up 13. The Rams are about to have that 4th and 12 to punt the ball away. And then you see Tariq Woolen go and start taunting the Rams sideline right in front of the ref. I mean, if the ref wasn't right there, he probably would have gotten away with it. But that's like textbook 101, man. You don't go and taunt somebody else and say some nasty crap with the ref right there. And then what happens the very next play? Matthew Stafford throws it up to Puka Nacua one-on-one on Tariq Woolen. What a way to just like completely demoralize his character in a span of like 5 minutes. But man, like the Seahawks defense made critical stops. The Rams still played great. Matthew Stafford still had a great game. Obviously Puka cooked too, but Seattle, they just executed, man. And this team's scary. I think the NFC team is going to come out on top in the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be Seattle, but they were so poised this entire game.
Going back to Sam Darnold, his story, what he's doing in Seattle is the perfect example of what people have been saying for years about situation matters. Okay? Think about the Jets for a second. They've gone through so many quarterbacks. They drafted Sam Darnold. He was pretty decent there for a few years, but organization's a dumpster fire. Then they draft Zach Wilson. Then they get Aaron Rodgers, and it still doesn't work out. And then Aaron Rodgers goes to the Steelers, a pretty competent organization, even with what they're dealing right now, and they still make it to the playoffs. The Jets have been a dumpster fire for as long as I can remember. And then he waits his turn as a backup. It didn't work out in Carolina. Another situation of just wasn't the right fit. Situation matters. And I think, you could see more redemption stories like this. I mean, you saw it with Baker Mayfield, kind of the same situation. Of course, he hasn't made it to the Super Bowl yet, but, he started off in Cleveland. Another organization that has been a dumpster fire for as long as we've known it. He goes to Carolina, then he goes to the Rams, and then he finds himself in Tampa, and he's doing a pretty good job down there in Tampa. And so, I don't know, man. Situation matters. The coaching matters.
It 100% touching on that real quick too. One thing I want to say, it was circulating around social media today too. Back in 2021, when the Jets traded Sam Darnold to the Panthers, their former GM, Joe Douglas, said, and I quote, "Whether I look bad or not, I could give two shits about that. I know Sam Darnold's going to have success. The timing didn't really work out here. We couldn't turn this around fast enough for him, and that's not his fault." And that's the situation with a lot of those organizations that are dumpster fires. Like you said, the Browns, there's so many, and it used to be the Bears too for a long time. But there's the organizations that just like, they're so
year after year, quarterback after quarterback.
Yeah, they're so far in the thick of rebuild. Like it's like when you're so deep in a rebuild, it's hard for a quarterback to have success, regardless of the talent that they have. Like, and we see it all the time. Yeah,
and maybe and then Seattle wasn't Seattle let go of Russell Wilson, and they weren't just completely lost without Russell Wilson. Hell, they had a few good years or a couple good years out of Geno Smith, who had been a ghost since he left the Jets, and then he kind of revitalized his career a little bit with Seattle, and then baited the Raiders into giving him a bunch of money. But so
Yeah.
that's how you see, situation matters, and I think you're going to see it more and more in drafts, and and it may start with Arch Manning next year. I know he's coming back to school, but you're going to start. I think you're going to start seeing quarterbacks take a look and say, "Hey, I don't know if I want to play for the Jets." You saw Dante Moore say, "He saw Dante Moore look at the draft order probably and say, oh, the Jets are right there too. I don't know if I want to go play for them. I'm going back to college and going to make a
I'll
few
say
more
too,
million."
you're going to see more teams too, and there's quite a few teams that do it already, but you're going to see more teams draft a quarterback with the high overall pick and then let them sit behind a vet. Like, I mean, people thought the Packers were crazy years ago when they took Jordan Love with like the 29th, 28th overall pick. Aaron Rodgers was pissed about it, and I'm not trying to say Jordan Love's a great quarterback. He's
I mean,
he's pretty solid, and he's stayed
for
consistent.
replacing Aaron
Yeah,
Rodgers, he's done
yeah,
a pretty good
exactly. And I'm
job.
like, you think he sat behind him for what, 3 seasons before he even saw the field? And and there's other teams that have tried that. Like the Bears tried it with Justin Fields. I don't know if anybody remembers, but they had Nick Foles and Andy Dalton before start games before Justin Fields even got to see the field. Obviously, it didn't work out in his favor.
People
The Bears are a
forget
dumpster
that
fire,
Patrick
but
Mahomes sat a year behind Alex Smith.
exactly. And I don't think that's a bad thing for a quarterback's development, especially coming to the league with these younger rookies. The first year they're eligible, not these 24, 25-year-old quarterbacks getting drafted like Bo Nix or Carson Beck. It's those younger quarterbacks. They like Anthony Richardson, for example, man. He needed something like that when he first came to the league. And it's kind of came back to bite him in the butt. But
Yeah, and I mean, it's hard to like. I don't want to just rag on the Jets, but I mean, it's still though. I mean, they got the Jets with 2 first-round picks this year, and Ty Simpson is regarded as the second quarterback behind Fernando Mendoza, and the Jets need a quarterback. I mean, I would hate to see Ty Simpson go to the Jets, but if he gets the opportunity, I'm going to root for him. But man, going back to the NFC title game. Speaking of like situation matters, I mean, look at Matthew Stafford. I mean, he was on the Lions for so many years, and they could never figure it out with him at the helm. And then he goes to the Rams with Sean McVay and that defense, and they have Cooper Kupp, and they add Odell Beckham Jr. They have some good running backs, and then you pair that with the defense they had. They win a Super Bowl.
yeah, first year of
So
him being there.
I mean,
So
again, situation matters, coaching
yeah,
matters, all the things that I don't care what type of quarterback talent you are. You can have the talent of Patrick Mahomes. You can have the talent of Tom Brady. You can be all these things, but if you don't have the right situation, it's not going to work out. That's
yeah,
my final piece on this. I mean,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I'm enamored with how Sam Darnold has recovered and redeemed himself, and it's amazing to see.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. Now, pivoting over to more of our expertise aside from the NFL, time to get in some college football talk.
I
And
wouldn't call it
obviously,
but
I wouldn't say we're experts, but we're more experts in college football than I would say NFL. Obviously, we both love the two, but I think we both love college football a little bit more than the NFL. And obviously, the big headline this week in college football: Dabo Swinney calling out Ole Miss for tampering, man, calling out Pete Golding in a public press conference, calling him out for blatant tampering.
He went scorched
involving Luke
earth.
Ferrelli, and he had the receipts. He had the timeline. He had that Luke Ferrelli was in class when he was getting these texts.
He had the text messages.
Pete Golding was sending pictures of contracts, and the whole situation with this, man, is like Ferrelli already signed the contract with Clemson and enrolled.
He was in class,
and then
going to team meetings,
and then re-entered the portal, committed to Ole Miss, and I mean, like this is just like, and Dabo explained it the best too. Like tampering 101 is when you're just texting a player before they even hit the portal, and then it's like, oh,
201,
yeah, and then it just keeps getting worse. And the main point of Dabo bringing all of this to light is just about the integrity of the transfer portal, man. Like this kid already committed and signed with Clemson, and then now is going to Ole Miss. And the big thing is the rule enforcement, which we're not seeing the NCAA really take action on, because they have all these rules about how you can't tamper, you can't do this, you can't do that. But then are they enforcing those rules? No, there's no ramifications.
And I think the reason for that is because it's happening everywhere. You saw it with uh, Damon Williams at Washington, and he signs a new deal with Washington, and then you know all of a sudden he's entering the transfer portal, and the rumor is LSU, or you see, Darian Mensah from Duke, who's still fighting for a way to try to get in the transfer portal, and everybody already thinks the destination is Miami. You saw it with Ty Simpson, who wasn't even in the portal, had not declared for the draft yet. He never entered the transfer portal, and you hear him publicly come out and say, Miami offered me $6.5 million. Ole Miss and Tennessee offered me $4 million. It's happening everywhere, and the NCAA is the cause of it, because ever since they introduced NIL and the transfer portal all into one they opened Pandora's box without any real rules or guidelines. They don't enforce it, and they've lost just about every lawsuit that's come against them. So until we get some type of other governing body with a commissioner or some leader, this is going to continue to happen, because the NCAA has no power.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with you. Another point I want to make on this: it was only a matter of time until Dabo's fuse flipped, bro. Like you think about it, Dabo is one of the few coaches in the Power Four that does not utilize the transfer portal that well. Doesn't take in any transfers hardly, and he doesn't have hardly any NIL that he. I mean, he has NIL, but he does not use the transfer portal. And the moment he acquires a big name in the transfer portal, one of the biggest defensive names, his fuse just freaking sparks.
It gets taken away from him in that fashion.
And I completely understand him going off, and I'm all for it, because I mean, granted, yeah, it's happening everywhere, but why would the NCAA have these rules?
And
if they're not going to enforce them? They're meaningless rules. Why have any rules?
What? I don't fault Ole Miss and Pete Golding for trying. And obviously it worked, because they did more than just try, but there's no rule enforcement. I mean,
that's why he did it, because you've seen time and time again, year after year, the last 4 or 5 years that that NIL has been in place, you've seen textbook tampering just like this, and nothing ever happened. So why not? I
mean, yeah, and it's just it's ridiculous. Crazy. And college football, as great as it is, it has its problems, and they do not seem to be getting addressed. I mean, yeah, you tried to address it by making a one transfer window. Guess what? I think it got worse under the because I don't know, man. It's the problems are so obvious and glaring. They're staring the NCAA and the powers that be of college football, which are the NCAA and the conference commissioners, right in the face, and nothing is being done. They're more worried about how they can make the biggest buck, how many teams they can get the playoff to, how many teams they can get in the playoff from automatic bid. I mean, you saw it earlier.
You saw Notre Dame. Yep.
Notre Dame trying to find a way to keep Notre Dame in the playoffs. By signing some piece of paper. And
one thing I want to ask about that situation real quick. I didn't think crying or pouting or making a big fit ever got anybody anywhere, got them anything. When I cried or pouted as a child, I got spanked. And you see Notre Dame crying and pouting, not going to play in a bowl game, and the NCAA rewards them. Oh, yeah, let's get you your automatic bid if you're in the top 12 in the final rankings. Yeah, that is.
And Cam Newton, as much as I despise him for being an Auburn Tiger, he has a good podcast, and he says some stuff on ESPN that I actually agree with. He called out Notre Dame and saying, despite making a few appearances in the national championship the last several years, or in the playoff the last several years, what have they done to be relevant? Each time they've gotten in the playoff, they've lost somehow. Like 2012, Bama whooped their butts in the playoff. Okay, 2020. Uh, Bama or no, it was one year Clemson whooped them in the playoffs. Then Bama whooped them in the playoffs again, and then yeah, they made it to the national championship game last year, but they still got beat by multiple scores by Ohio State. I mean, Notre Dame and God, their schedule next year, it is so easy. And then you look, and then oh my god, it is.
It's
And I don't.
frustrating.
And again, this is not something you fault Notre Dame for because nobody's making them join a conference. You thought the fact that they got left out this year because the committee actually did the right thing and valued the extra game of a conference championship game and valued the head-to-head with Miami over Notre Dame, that would force Notre Dame's hand and maybe joining a conference. Nope, like you said, they got rewarded, and their schedule is a breeze because they don't. Dude,
It's frustrating.
It's frustrating.
The college football that we love and that we grew up to love is just it's completely. I don't want to say falling apart, but it's changed. It's changed over the
Like I
years.
said, the problems are staring everybody in the face, and nothing is being done. That's the biggest problem with college football. Me and you both love it. We're going to continue to love it. We're going to continue to root for our teams and bleed for our teams and watch this sport. But man, something's got to be done. I mean, I mean, and there are much bigger voices than us saying this.
Yeah, it's depressing to see.
We're just ants, little ants among thousands saying this.
Exactly. And I mean, oh, dude, it's insane.
We're going on soapboxes about
on a lighter note. Let's go back into the NFL now. All right, let's take a step back. We're gonna go back to the NFL, the coaching carousel. Obviously, it's the off season for a lot of teams, other than two now. And we've already seen between the coaches that have been hired, obviously the Falcons taking on Kevin Stefanski, Ravens getting Jesse Minter, the Giants hiring John Harbaugh. And I think those are the main head coaching hires that have happened. Obviously, there's still quite a few teams.
Steelers hired Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy rejoining Aaron Rodgers. And then there's still multiple jobs open between the Cardinals. You've got the Bills, the Browns. Yeah, you've got multiple head coaching.
The Raiders.
Yep, and there's a lot of big-time names that could potentially take those positions as well. But starting things off, Bryant, one thing the thing that's interesting to me, I want to talk about Mike McCarthy to the Steelers, because the interesting thing with that situation is, if I recall correctly, Aaron Rodgers is part of the reason why Mike McCarthy left Green Bay to begin with. And I mean, like, and obviously the future is unknown if Aaron Rodgers is going to retire or not. I don't think he is, because I feel like he would have already done so. But I mean, who's to say that he will now that Mike McCarthy's the Steelers head coach? So it puts Pittsburgh in an interesting situation, because in all honesty, what makes Mike McCarthy better than Tomlin? You know what I mean?
I don't think there really is anything other than McCarthy beat Tomlin in the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers a little over a decade ago. I personally think he's a fill-in coach. Maybe the guy they want, or the guy that they want to go after, or whoever they may want isn't available right now or doesn't want to. I don't know who that may be. I don't know. I think the Steelers just went out and got a guy who's had success and before, and maybe he could do it again. Only time will tell. But I really just think it's maybe like a fill-in hire, like maybe a couple of years, and if it don't pan out, they'll go to the guy that they really want. I don't know. I don't know how to say it. That's what it seemed like to me, because it just seems like he settled, went from one mic to another mic. I don't know.
Yep. And I don't know which one's better between the two of them. I would say Tomlin's better between the two of them, but I mean, teach their own.
I don't know. And the interesting about it is they talk about, Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers. Well, Aaron Rodgers was only on a 1-year deal. I mean, he's still contemplating on whether or not he wants to come back for another year.
Yeah.
So and then he may not even be with the Steelers. He could sign somewhere else. I mean, so I guess you really don't know. I think he's a fill-in hire. I think maybe, he's a serviceable, great, former great coach who maybe hasn't had success recently, but has had success. And maybe it pans out, maybe it doesn't. But then it gives the Steelers to go a time to go after who maybe they really want in the future. I
Yeah.
don't know.
And sticking in that AFC North picture as well with the Steelers, the Ravens hiring Jesse Minter as their head coach. They go from John Harbaugh, a defensive minded coach, to another defensive minded coach who was kind of a protege of Jim Harbaugh and John Harbaugh. He was a protege of both of them because he was with the Ravens from 2017 to 2020, I believe, as like a defensive assistant, a DB coach. And then he goes from John to Jim over in Michigan, stays with him in Michigan a little bit, then is the DC for the Chargers. It's very interesting the way that I'm not surprised that they went the route with Minter. Obviously, he's got some roots with the Ravens, learned from Harbaugh. Will he? This is his first bit of head coaching experience, though. We haven't seen him any head coaching experience on the collegiate or NFL level thus far. So I think this is like a trial and error type hire. It could be really good, or it could not be really good. This could be something like Aaron Glenn with the Jets this year.
I mean, the biggest thing really is what do they do with Lamar? I mean, I think they keep him, which is what they should do. But there are whispers out there about them moving on from Lamar, letting him go somewhere else, which I know that's happened every year for the last several years now. About what do you do with Lamar Jackson? I still think he's a phenomenal quarterback who's still got a lot of football left in him. I mean, you gotta clean up the injuries. You can't let him probably run around as much as he wants to anymore. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a great hire. I mean,
I think so.
I mean, you see the defensive minded guys for the most part still getting the job done. I mean,
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel and McDonald are both defensive guys for Seattle and New England. So, I mean, we'll see. They have a talented roster. I mean, probably one of the best rosters outside of maybe Atlanta to go to. So
yeah, and bouncing
and
off of
Buffalo.
that, the guy that Minter learned from first, John Harbaugh, man. John Harbaugh going to the New York Giants. I bet he's so happy because he's got a young team and he can't do any worse than the Giants did this year. They're 4-13. John Harbaugh just came from coaching an 8-9 team. I bet the Giants would have killed to be 8-9 this year with Jackson Dart.
Yeah, and the Giants. I mean, I don't really think they should have gotten rid of Brian Dable. I think but I do think John Harbaugh is an upgrade from Brian Dable because I mean it's John Harbaugh. I mean, so if you're going to get rid of Brian Dable, at least it paid off because I think you got an upgrade. The Giants just caught some unfortunate breaks because the neighbors went out early in the season. Then right as Cam Scatterby was starting to come on, he goes out. Dart got hurt so many times during the season, whether it was a concussion or something else, because I think he was just playing too carelessly. I mean, I think he's playing hard, but he just was not being careful with his body like a quarterback should be, and he was putting himself in harm's way. You got to clean that up a little bit. It's very promising if you can get those neighbors, Scatterby, back to where they were before their injuries, and you can build around those guys. Shore up the offensive line, build, and you know Harbaugh is going to put together a great defense. So.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say too: 7 of the Giants' 13 losses this year were one-score games. They had a ton of games decided by one score, and it kind of is reminiscent.
I mean, one of those was in Denver when they
and another one was in Chicago. Another one was in Chicago. And one thing I'll say about that is the thing that's reminiscent with me about it is you saw the same thing with the 2024 Chicago Bears. They had multiple one-score games like that. They get Ben Johnson, and the following year they're winning those one-score games. They're on the opposite side of those games. And I think John Harbaugh can bring that energy to the table. There were so many games where they were just one play away from winning it, or maybe a couple plays, especially looking at that. I mean, Yeah, you can say what you want. A couple plays with that Broncos Giants game, but they blew a huge lead. So I mean, that's on them.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
again, it was just. I think the Giants just had one of those years where the injuries caught up with them. I mean, and it unfortunately cost them their head coach. I like Brian Dable. He coached at Bama, offensive coordinator at Bama for a couple of Tua's years. So I mean, I like Brian Dable, and I think a lot of people are thinking that's who the Bills may go after. So I mean, we'll see.
yeah,
And
I
the
mean,
Falcons got Kevin Stefanski, which is interesting. Um,
I don't know how to feel about that.
I don't either.
I like out of all these other hires that we just talked about, I think for the most part they were all good, and then this one's just like, like I don't, I couldn't tell you right now. I mean, obviously Stefanski's first couple of years in Cleveland, he turned that franchise around, all for it to just get dumped down the drain.
And,
And
and again, the biggest thing for the Falcons is what do you do at the quarterback position? I know you drafted Michael Penix. You freshly drafted Michael Penix in the 2024 draft, but you know the injury history. He's once again torn his ACL. You don't know how he's going to be coming back from the injury. Now you still got Kirk Cousins, um, who could be your guy for 1 year, or Michael Penix. What do you do at the quarterback position? I mean,
yeah,
do you
it's
let?
so spotty there too. And like, do you really think Kevin Stefanski could develop someone like MPJ? I don't know.
I mean, I think he can. It all depends on can Michael Penix stay healthy. I mean, and can he be what he was before the injury? Because yes, I know he's already had a couple of injuries, but before this latest one, but still, the injuries start to add up. I mean, it's an unfortunate truth. I mean, you see all the concussions and injuries that Tua has had, and I think it's
It's
catching
added
up to
up.
him.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, no doubt. It's
And
just like it's like injuries with the Broncos this last weekend. They lost.
oh yeah, the
First injury.
Dolphins made a head coaching hire too.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Jeff
yeah, yeah.
Hadley from
Yep.
which I think is interesting. Another defensive minded coach. Um, what do they do with Tua? I think they probably move off of Tua. I mean, there's so much. I mean, like just like college, like kind of like there was in college football before. As the off season started. Now with the NFL, that off season is just getting started. We're about a little over a month out from free agency. Still, a lot of unknowns as far as quarterbacks and
Yep.
still coaches because you still got the Cardinals, the Raiders, the Bills, and the Browns. I think those are the four that are still
Yeah.
vacant.
I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm just happy for the most part. Ben Johnson has held his coaching group together. Other than Eric Bieniemy going back to KC, I can't complain.
I hope Sean Payton can hold on to Vance Joseph, which is a DC, and hold on to his quarterbacks coach, who's getting some looks as well. Because you've seen the job he's done with Bo Nix. I mean,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
Sean Payton knows how to figure out coaches, so I'm not worried about that. And
I, and sticking with the NFL,
it's
screw
hard to
coaches
believe
right
we only
now.
got one more game of football
Yep.
left.
And that one game is the Super Bowl. We're not going to go into a pick'em segment, just an early preview. Patriots on the AFC side of things, Seahawks on the NFC side of things,
A
in San
rematch of one of the
Francisco
greatest
or
Super
Santa
Bowls.
Clara. Yeah, exactly. From years ago where Marshawn didn't get the ball and Kevin Butler sealed the game.
Malcolm
So
Butler.
or Malcolm Butler, yeah,
Kevin Butler.
same deal.
Not same deal. There's
Give
a
me a
difference
break.
between
Give me a
Malcolm
break.
and Kevin.
Give me a break. One thing I will say going into this game is I think there are going to be very few turnovers.
I think it's a
Very
low
few.
scoring game.
I think it's very few turnovers. If anything, I think there's one turnover, and I think whichever team gets that turnover, fumble recovery, whether it's a pick, I think that team's going to win the game. I think it's going to be
I
close.
honestly think this will be like the AFC Championship game because both defenses are so good, and it'll be interesting. The most important matchup will be New England's offense against Seattle's defense. Drake May, who's had his now he didn't have one against Denver. He almost did it a few times, but he didn't. He didn't have any turnovers versus Denver because I think with the way New England's defense is playing, uh, and then the conditions towards the end of the game, New England played very conservative, just as much as conservative as Denver did on the offensive side of the ball, not letting Drake May put it in harm's way and just finding a way to win the game. But now this is a game where you're going to need Drake May to make some plays because
They're going to need
this
some
defense
offense.
is this. I've said it all playoffs long. This Seahawks defense is so reminiscent of the Legion of Boom. Do I think they're as good as the Legion of Boom? Probably not. I mean, those were some Hall of Famers on that Legion of Boom squad. But man, they are so similar, and it's almost like staring the Legion of Boom in the face, almost.
And one thing I will say going to this Super Bowl matchup, obviously, I hope the Seahawks win. Either way, if the Seahawks lose and
I'm hoping for a great game.
if it's the Patriots, I won't be mad just because Mike Vrabel's an Ohio State alum. They've got Travion Henderson. They've got Thayer Munford. They've got a lot of Buckeyes. The one thing I will say going to this matchup, the Patriots need to establish a run game besides Drake May, man. They need to get Ramondre Stevenson cooking. I know that Travion Henderson's healthy again. Why not let him explode, man? When the Patriots were playing their best offense all year is when Travion Henderson was having insane games, man. They need to get him back up to those double digits in carries because against the Broncos, you saw him 3 attempts for 5 yards. Didn't do much with them. Obviously, the game was what it was, but I'd like to see him use Travion a little bit more because, like you're saying, like are the Seahawks really studying for Travion Henderson, or are they studying more for Ramondre? I don't know. I'm assuming they're going to be prepared for both. But
probably both because
I have a feeling
one's a bruiser and the other is an elusive, explosive type back.
I think that Travion Henderson could potentially explode just because the lack thereof the last couple of weeks. Obviously, he was hurt coming back from injury, but I think there's a big chance. But like you said, it comes back to will the Patriots be able to match up well with that Seahawks defense? Because
I think that's the matchup. I mean, I think Sam Darnold and Kenneth Walker, JSN. I think the Seahawks offense has enough to make some plays against the New England defense, which is still very good.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Sam Darnold even utilize it this past week, man. Who would have expected Jake Bobo to get a freaking touchdown in that game, man? Jake Bobo getting a touchdown. He was giving it to Barner here and there. And then that other running back behind Kenneth Walker, they didn't use him much, but he wasn't bad. Highland or Helani, whatever his name was. I couldn't even tell you. But I think Seattle's got more weapons on offense than New England does. So,
and I think the reason I'm pulling for Seattle is there's a guy from my community in Jackson, Alabama, who went to Auburn, but he plays for the Seahawks. He's Nehemiah Pritchett. He went to the Senior Bowl. He went to the Senior Bowl, and then he got drafted, I think, 4th round of the Seahawks. It's just always nice when you see somebody from your community make it to that point. I think that's why I'm pulling for the Seahawks. I'm pulling for him. Make our community proud. So I think that's why I'm pulling for the Seahawks. I'm just hoping for a great game. Super Bowl is always a fun.
I think the Seahawks are going to win either way, but
I mean, we're not making fixtures yet. So
I know.
Give it,
We'll cool it. We're not going to talk about the halftime show though. It's a football game. Skipping over past the NFL now. Some guys looking to get their face in the NFL. You briefly wanted to talk about this. I don't care that much, but the Senior Bowl. It's Senior Bowl week. Come on, people.
Yeah, it's Senior
Bowl. Down in Mobile.
Yeah, and I was going to be there. The weather had other plans. I am stuck here in Arkansas because we got a very heavy dose of snow, ice, sleet. Across, like I said at the beginning of the show, the Mid-South. So I had to stay and not only work through that, but the roads and conditions just were too much to try and risk it. But, man, I love the Senior Bowl. It's something that, I don't know how to describe it because it's helped both of us so much in our careers, not only making connections, but also making content and putting our names and stuff out there. Getting to interview players, getting to meet other people in the media industry, like your Ian Rappaport and your Chris Rings, and You name it. I enjoy the Senior Bowl, man. It's a fun time.
Yep, and unfortunately, you will not be there. Unfortunately,
No, but
um,
I'll be keeping up with it. But a lot of interesting names. The quarterbacks are not any of besides maybe Diego Pavia are not you know guys that are being talked about a lot. Fernando Mendoza didn't go. Ty Simpson didn't go. Which I
the only other notable name really up there would be Garrett Nussmeier. That's like
Yeah, Garrett Nussmeier is interesting. But
Luke
still, it's
Altmaier is
always
good too, but
now
um,
Diego Pavia, and I don't think this matters as much as people were saying because Bryce Young and Kyler Murray are short quarterbacks, and they're doing just well. They're doing just fine, I think. He measured in at 5'9". That's an inch shorter than those two. I don't know, man. I don't know if that matters all that much, but man, I don't know.
I mean, we'll see, man. I don't know. I can't remember the last time there was a Senior Bowl quarterback that was that short. I don't
What's
know.
your favorite part about the Senior Bowl? What's like, was
I
it the
think
practices?
the best part about the Senior Bowl is just I would say practice week, man. The game doesn't even matter to an extent. The main reason why NFL scouts are there are to watch these guys in practice, and you see these guys really competing, whether it be one-on-ones or regardless of what they're doing, just specific drills. And it's cool to see like these NFL execs and GMs and different
Dude,
scouts for NFL
I can't remember.
organizations
I
out
mean,
there.
the year
And
we did it together. I mean,
yeah,
you saw coaches
I'm standing there on the sideline, and D'Amico Ryans comes up and is standing right next to me right after winning Coach of the Year. Yeah,
Mike Tomlin a few feet away from me. You college coaches, I got to
yeah,
meet.
and then just legends too, though, like Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens. There, all like it's cool to see.
It's just a great environment, dude.
And it's awesome that it happens in Mobile, Alabama. Obviously, we both went to school there. You're from the area, but it's great aside from the game and what the Senior Bowl does, but just the community impact that it has as well.
I love to watch the trenches, offensive and defensive line. Those are the guys down there that really get after it. I mean, if you ever watch a Senior Bowl practice, especially up close, if you ever get a chance to go do it in person, do it. They open these practices to the public. You can't get on the field unless you have a credential, but you still get to watch it up close. Um, they get after it in the trenches, whether it's one on one, whether it's teams. These are guys that are looking to prove themselves, and and man, it is so cool to watch just them get after it. I mean, and and the Senior Bowl is just more than on the field. Not only are they showing what they got on the field, but what people don't realize is a lot of these guys they're auditioning too. They're going through
Yeah,
interviews. They're going through playbook scenarios, watching film, interviews with the media. I mean,
and
this is probably the most access to players that media members ever get. I mean, for the most part, you know, you get to interview them on just about anything, and people in the NFL watches this stuff, and then they're doing private NFL interviews with them in their hotel rooms I mean, there is so much more that goes into the Senior Bowl process
one
besides just
one thing I'll say going along with your point. There's so much more that goes into it. The biggest takeaway too is for those guys getting underlooked going into the draft process. This is the time to prove yourself. The year that both of us covered it together, Quinion Mitchell was not even like expected to be in the first 4 rounds of the draft process. He goes to the Senior Bowl, shows out, gets an invite to the combines, then a first round pick. You see it same thing last year with Mike Green out of Marshall. Mike Green wasn't
Lad
expected to go
McConkey,
as high
dude.
as he was. All these guys got shots. I don't want to say because of the Senior Bowl, but because they had the shot to put on a show in front of these NFL execs and show what their work ethic looks like. Like, I mean, that's one of the coolest parts is seeing guys go from like not nobodies, but from getting a chance at the Senior Bowl, maybe being a little bit overlooked or underlooked, and then they go to the Senior Bowl, and then everybody's like, "Who's this guy?" So,
And I think, and let's see my last point about it. I think it's a little bit harder than your standard college practice because you're going up, unless you got maybe a quarterback and a receiver that are there that have played together all year or on the same team. you're playing with guys you haven't had much experience playing with. There's not really any chemistry or timing there with your quarterbacks and receivers, or any synchronization with your offensive line or your communicators. All these guys are learning what the NFL looks like in just 1 week, and they're auditioning for it. And like it says on all the merchandise and on all the advertising, the NFL draft truly starts in Mobile, and that's the special thing about it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I can't say enough about the Senior Bowl. I love it.
You
It
wish you
breaks
were
my
there.
heart not to be down there right now.
Yeah, you wish you were there, man. If only.
Next year.
Next year. But man, what a time to be alive. Yeah, because now, before you know it, we're going to be talking about who's projected to go when and where in the draft, and who to look out.
We're going to do some mock drafts. We're going to do some mock drafts.
Mock drafts. I cannot stand mock drafts. I'll give you a hypothetical.
I will do some mock drafts, and you can just grade my picks. How about that?
I'll just sit back and look pretty. I think that's the plan. But what a time of year, man. Obviously, Super Bowl is still over a week away. We've got the Pro Bowl this weekend.
One more football game left.
And dude, it's
unless you watch the UFL, then I guess you
nobody's watching the UFL, man. I
may watch a little bit this year.
I'm looking forward to spring ball starting up here soon, getting some baseball right back. The Cubs are going to be good on this. The Cubs are going to be back this year.
College basketball is ramping up, well into conference play.
Yeah, before you know it, dude, March is technically only a month away, and before you know it, we're going to be. It's what a time of year, man. It's sad that football is practically over, but it happens every year, and now we just gotta. Every fan is eager for next season, except for Vikings fans, because they have JJ McCarthy as their quarterback. Sorry, I said that to somebody at work today. I was like, I bet you can definitely wait the next over 200 days for the football season because you've got 9 as your quarterback. But yeah, all that to say, what a week, what a time to be alive. Brian, I think that's all but going to wrap up this week's episode of the Back of the End Zone podcast. And next week, we're going to get into some Super Bowl pick'em segments, man. And this week's only going to get crazier too. But man, what a time to be alive.
Yep.